Hey guys, this is Abhishek from gadgets.com, and today we are going to do a quick hands-on comparison of two phones which we have. We have the Gionee Elife E7 with us, and we have the latest all-new Gionee Elife S5.5. We have this phone in black color again, and I have selected the black color so that I can actually do a proper comparison in between the black color of an Elife E7 with the black color of S5.5, which is again an Elife, not an Elife, but this is the S series device. So in terms of the overall comparison, I would like to say when it comes to the overall form factor, the form factor is definitely better on the Gionee S5.5, as you can see, and I will be calling them S5.5 and E7. So in terms of the overall form factor, this device has a pretty good form factor. You can easily hold it in one hand. When it comes to the kind of build quality you have, the build quality on this device is quite premium, and you can actually compare this build quality with an iPhone 5 over here. As you can see, we have an iPhone 5, and you can see that on the edges we have metal, which is aluminum on the iPhone 5, and on the edges on S5.5 we have again aluminum magnesium alloy. So this is again a kind of metal, a mix of metal basically in terms of the build. So in terms of the build, these devices actually come very close to each other. So S5.5 actually come very close to an iPhone 5 in terms of the build quality. And if you compare this with Elife E7, as you can see, Elife E7 we have plastic, but again this is not bad quality of plastic. This is actually pretty good quality of plastic, which can actually resist to the drops as well from the waist height or even from the shoulder height, and we have tested this phone in those scenarios. So in terms of the build quality, this is also good, but again metal is always better as compared to plastic, as we have seen earlier. So metal is definitely going to give you a much better build quality as compared to the plastic phone. And again, we can say that in comparison, the Gionee S5.5 is a metal phone, but it is not a full metal phone. That is something which we can say. As far as the backside is concerned, the backside on the Gionee S5.5 is actually glass, and the front is also glass. So because the backside is actually glass, and again I'm not sure whether you have Corning Gorilla Glass 3D protection on the backside of the Gionee S5.5, but again this is going to get the fingerprints a lot. So this is going to be very fingerprint catchy. I hope Gionee bundles some kind of case or a translucent case which actually protects the backside, especially from getting any kind of damage or any kind of smudges because of the fingerprints. As you can easily notice, this device has actually got some fingerprints, and it can easily attract the fingerprints very easily because the kind of material which they have and the backside is glass, which is very much attractive to fingerprints. If you compare it with the E7, the E7 is also plastic, and again it is glossy plastic, so it also attracts the fingerprints also, but again not that much as you will notice on the S5.5. S5.5, the fingerprints will be much visible as compared to the E7 which we have with us. And if we compare both of these phones in terms of the overall physical build quality, we can easily say that the S5.5 has a better build quality, but when it comes to the overall strongness these phones have, both of these phones are going to be pretty good in terms of the overall strongness, in terms of the overall physical durability. But if you drop an E7 from the waist height or from the shoulder height, you can actually expect this phone to still work, whereas the S5.5 may get damaged because of the glass at the back. So that is something which we can tell you. As far as hardware is concerned, we have pretty much different hardware configuration on these two phones. We have a Snapdragon 800 processor on the Elife E7, whereas we have a octa-core processor from MediaTek 6592, which is the octa-core chipset 1.7 GHz processor on this device. So devices are definitely different in terms of the hardware configuration. They come from different, so the processor come from different hardware manufacturers. This one is from MediaTek, this one is from Qualcomm as far as hardware is concerned. When we take a look at these phones from the top, on the top we can easily notice that E7 is actually kind of curved plastic which we have on the top, and again on this device we have metal again. So this is definitely looking much better, and it will give you a better grip as well when you hold this device in one hand. However, the kind of backside which we have on both of these phones, the kind of battery you have, the battery is non-removable on the S5.5 as well as on the Gionee E7. So the battery cannot be removed on any of these two phones, but you have a kind of a plastic build quality which is again not going to be that good in terms of the overall premiumness if you compare it with the S5.5. As far as other things are concerned, if we take a look on the top, we can show you the placement of the ports and connectivity. We have the micro USB port for data syncing and charging. We have a headphone jack over here. The power and sleep key on the Elife E7 is on the top, whereas the power and sleep key on the S5.5 is actually on this side. So again, I would say the placement of the power and sleep key is not that good on the E7, but again it can be accepted, but it would have been better if they have actually placed it on the edges, on the side. Whereas on the S5.5 we have the power and sleep key over here on this side. When it comes to the display, if we compare the display of both of these phones, we have a different display on both of these phones. We have a 5-inch display over here, and whereas we have a bigger display on the E7. As far as the front camera is concerned, the front camera on the E7 is a autofocus 8 megapixel camera, which is definitely a good camera. As far as the S5 is concerned, we have a 5 megapixel camera module, which is not autofocus supported. It is only fixed focus. You have a metallic earpiece as well on both of these phones, as you can see, and again it is behind the glass. So the kind of display they have, especially when it comes to these two phones, you have a Super AMOLED display on the S5.5. And again, I'm not sure about the exact display technology which we have on the E7, but again, when it comes to the viewing angles are pretty good. I think that we have an IPS LCD display on the E7, but again, when it comes to the viewing angle are pretty good for both of these phones. So you can see the display from extreme angles on both of these phones. Both of these phones also have the display which are pretty good in terms of the overall color reduction as well. So the color reduction is good on both of these phones. The display viewing angles are also good. When it comes to the capacitive home buttons, you do have capacitive touch buttons which are there at the bottom on both of these phones. They will light up whenever you use them, and they are within the body, not within the display. When it comes to the display resolution, you have full high definition display resolution on the E7, and you have full high definition display resolution on the S5.5 as well. As far as the rear is concerned, on the rear we have glass, whereas we have plastic on the E7. The camera module is different. We have a 16 megapixel camera on E7, which is actually very good. And in comparison, I've compared both of these devices in terms of the kind of camera quality they provide you. You have a better camera quality on the 16 megapixel camera on E7 as compared to the S5.5. This is something which we can tell you. You do have LED flash in both of these phones. We have a secondary mic as well on this device for noise cancellation and video chat, and you do have a secondary mic on the E7 as well for noise cancellation and video chat. As far as the bottom is concerned, at the bottom we have the 3.5mm audio jack. On the S5.5 we have a primary microphone over here. We have these rubber bands which are actually for the signal and antenna, and then at the bottom on the E7 we have the speaker mesh, whereas this only one of the speaker is actually only one of the mesh is one from which the sound come out. So this device does have a speaker, but it is only a single speaker. It is not a dual speaker, which we can tell you. You have the micro USB port for data syncing and charging over here. You have a primary mic as well on this device, and again, not both of these actually are for the loudspeaker. One of them is for the loudspeaker, and another one is probably just for the design or maybe for the mic. When it comes to this side, we can show you these two phones in comparison from the edges as well. As you can easily notice that E7 is not that thick, but again you do have a curved back on the E7, which actually makes it little bit thicker, but in terms of comparison you can easily notice this, that the S5.5 is a much thinner phone, and it is right now the most thinnest or the slimmest phone in the market with a thickness of 5.5 millimeter, which is very good. As compared to E7, it is definitely fairly thin. As far as weight is concerned, the S5.5 is much lighter in terms of the weight. With the aluminum magnesium alloy it has and the kind of thickness it has, it is definitely lighter enough as compared to an E7. As far as hardware configuration is concerned, we have a quad-core processor on this device which comes from Qualcomm. It is a Snapdragon 800 processor, whereas we have an octa-core processor on the S5.5, which is an 8-core processor, 1.7 GHz processor. You have 2 GB of RAM on both of these devices. Both of these devices will come in the Indian market. This one is actually available already. E7 is already available. It comes with 16 GB and 32 GB storage model, whereas the S5.5 also comes in the 16 GB and 32 GB storage model. As far as the availability of the S5.5 is concerned, the S5.5 will be available in the market from 21st of April, and it is launched at a price of 22,999, which is the MRP of the S5.5. Again, you can easily get it for a lesser price, but in terms of the price difference, we can see that the E7 is actually available in the market for approximately for a price of 25 to 26,000 rupees, and this device is launched for an MRP of 22,999, which is fairly close to this one. So you can actually compare both of these phones. But again, when it comes to the kind of hardware configuration they offer, Elife E7 is actually having a very good processor. We will do a comparison in terms of the benchmark and other things as well on these two devices once we get these devices for review. But I would like to say you have a little bit better processor and little bit better hardware configuration on the E7 as of now, because this device is actually very good on the hardware front. It can give you very good gaming performance as well, whereas the S5.5 is also good enough. Again, we are not going to say more things as far as the performance of these two devices in comparison, but both of these phones are equally powerful, they are equally good. But again, the hardware configuration which we have seen on Elife E7 is definitely good. That is something which we can say, but not in comparison. The comparison in depth we will do as far as the performance of these phones is concerned. When it comes to the overall overview, I would like to say that the form factor of the S5.5 is much better. It is much lighter, much thinner phone in comparison with the E7, whereas the camera on the E7 is slightly better as compared to the camera module which we have on the S5.5. So this is the difference in terms of the camera. As far as build quality goes, the build quality is definitely premium, and it looks much more premium than E7. That is something which we can tell you. As far as the overall price or value for money is concerned, we won't be able to tell you the value for money as of now. But again, I would say that if you are looking for a premium phone, in terms of the look and feel, it is a good value for money. In terms of hardware, we will tell you later, but in terms of the look and feel, this is definitely worth the money you will actually would like to spend on a phone like this, which should look premium. So it will give you a very premium feel and a very strong build quality as well on the other end. But again, you might want to consider using it with a case, because again, you have glass at the back which will attract the fingerprints very easily, and you will have smudges over time. So that is going to ruin the overall experience and the look of the phone as well. Gionee might bundle a translucent case as well within the package of this phone. And again, when we talk about the display is full high definition on both of these phones. The kind of gaming performance you get on the Gionee S5.5 is also going to be good, whereas the kind of gaming performance which we have seen on the Elife E7 is also good. So in comparison, both of these phones are equally good. Do let us know if you have any specific questions for the E7 or for the S5.5. We would love to help you. You can like this video if this video helped you by clicking the like button below. You can subscribe to our YouTube video channel for more videos like this by clicking the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching this video. This is Abhishek signing off. This is the comparison of Elife E7 with S5.5 for you. This is Abhishek signing off. Thank you.